Alright, so welcome to our second exercise where we will build on the knowledge that we've learned. So we've just simply learned basic brushes in the previous exercise. You learned about the soft edge and the hard edge brush. By the way guys, if you don't have the soft edge and the hard edge, you can simply go up here to the little triangle and just load a basic brush, which is right here under assorted basic brushes. And you'll see that this comes up. You can either replace it, so it'll replace anything that you have, or append it, which means that it will add to the collection of brushes that you already have. I'm going to click OK on replacing because I want to simplify our workflow, so we only have these two, the soft edge of this one and the hard edge. What we're going to do now is to go a little bit deeper into understanding tones in light direction. So the aim of our main project is really to make your drawing look as real as possible, and having the proper lighting and the knowledge of where to put highlight and shadows is very important. So to do that, we'll do the oldest lesson in lighting that you can possibly get, which is rendering a sphere. When I say rendering, it means coloring in concept art. Okay. So without further ado, let's choose a hard edge brush. So for some reason it won't work. Oh, there it is. Yep. So hard edge brush, and we will choose a black color. Uh, maybe not so black. Let's go to something like this, slightly darker, and I'm making it bigger. Now, the thing that I like to teach you more today is layers. Layers function is very important. You use it all the time. It works very simply. Um, oh, if you can't find it, go to Windows and find layers. It should come up like this. Basically, whatever you put on top becomes the ones on top. Just like as if you're stacking papers, stacking transparent papers. It'll work the same way. So at the bottom, we have only one layer so far, and yours might have a lock button beside it. To get rid of it, you simply double click. You can use your mouse if you want. Double click and press OK, and it'll turn into layer 0. That means this is a normal layer. To add a layer on top, you will go to this icon down here, create new layer, and click once, and it'll appear on top. If you want to put this under, you can just simply drag it down. So the idea is you'll have a background color, which unfortunately I have put the gradation there, so that's fine. And on top, you just keep adding several layers until you get the effect that you want. So we'll start with layer 1. We'll draw layer 1 with this brush. I'll make it not that big yet, that's fine. And we're using 100% opacity, nothing selected in terms of pressure, nothing selected here as well. Smoothing is on, doesn't matter, doesn't make a difference. So we have that. Now we're going to just imagine that there is a light source, like a small lamp coming from here, which would give out that sort of light. Therefore, the lightest part would be around here, except that it's not like this, where this is a flat gradation. You know, if you see here, don't follow me, I just want to show you. If you see here, oops, I did not select the right layer. You see that it's very flat. It doesn't give a sense of three-dimensionality. What we want is that roundedness, and therefore I'll show you how. We'll go to a lighter color, something like that maybe, and we will choose again. We'll only be using two different brushes, guys, so press B or click on the brush and choose a softer edge and change the opacity down. Click on the pressure sensitivity and we can begin. You'll notice that, oops, color, if you go, it might be a bit hard getting used to at first, and this is fine. This is very, very normal. I am just shading the middle part of the sphere because I want to create a sense of three-dimensionality. When things are three-dimensional, the tones are different. I mean, especially when it comes to the edges. So I'm pretty happy with that, just making it a bit soft like that. And once you have that, we can keep going lighter. So I'm gonna go this way, maybe, and get a sense of light reflecting here. So that's where the light is. So I'm gonna start to focus on that. And you can see that I'm not actually going right up the edge. I'm actually leaving a little bit of darkness on the side, which is fine. Again, it's not meant to be perfect. You are creating an object. So already you can tell, oh yeah, that's starting to look a bit more 3D. And it gets softer and softer. You go through to the edge. Now, if your light source is down here, then the area that gets darker would be, you'd think, at the bottom. Um, I don't necessarily agree with that, because this object is actually sitting on something, and that shade is actually reflected up onto it. That's why usually objects darkest area would actually be, let me show you, and I'll choose not a pure black, but almost. Actually be around here, guys. That looks a bit harsh, but again we are blending like mad, so okay. And you see how I'm following the curve of this ball, so I'm not making a straight line, but I'm making more of a curved line. And I can do exactly the same as I did before, which is picking some colors on the side. Like this, maybe that is a little bit too bright, so, and because this is the layer opacity is set at 40% or whatnot, it'll blend seamlessly. I think it can go a bit darker than that, so I'm going to choose something darker. Go. And you might go overboard a bit with that, that's fine. We can just simply delete it. On the side it gets too. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I might even choose a reflection light under here, which makes this a bit brighter. Go. And this will make sense because when you're rendering, let's say, a face, this is the technique that you'll use, except that you'll choose skin tones instead of black and white. Okay, so you can see it's turning into 3D, and the punch, what's the word? The thing that will make it pop even more is the highlight. So the highlight is almost pure white. Usually in skin tone you won't get pure white because it'll be too harsh, but in this case this will work for us. So I'm gonna get just pure white and calculate where the highlight would hit. Which is probably there, or I don't know if I like that. I'm gonna choose somewhere here instead. And building up a bit. Okay. There. That. Okay, and something that will make it pop even more, guys, would be shadows. So the shadows underneath. So to do this, we'll choose maybe that color and turn down the opacity even more. And to do this, I will make a new layer. So click on this new layer button, put this underneath, because we are drawing underneath here. So imagine if this is the light, then the shadow would be somewhere down here, wouldn't it? And where that hits the table or whatever this is, the surface, you want it to be quite dark. And the thing is, because this is under it, it doesn't interfere. It doesn't actually, you're not actually drawing on top of the sphere, which is what you want. I might even get a darker color to really emphasize shadows there underneath. Okay, so you can see how this is. That looks like it's hovering a bit, so I can click this button to, oh, that's not what I want. The shadows area. See how I can move it around? I can do that quite easily, doing that. And if you want to clean up, and this is not necessary, but if you want to clean up the sphere a little bit, you can choose the elliptical marquee to sort of estimate how big it's going to be. And then select inverse, meaning it'll now select the area outside of that sphere, and you can press erase. This is your eraser button here, and just start cleaning up the outside. So if there is anything outside of that circle, you can just do this and it'll clean it up. And to get rid of the ant lines, as I'd like to call it, just press select, deselect, or control D. There you go. So now you have, I might get rid of this, quite a realistic 3D object, and might be good to erase with the hard brush so you're not seeing anything else. Oops. And that's it. You can rename layers by double clicking. So I'm going to name this sphere and name this shadow. So to summarize, the most important thing that you need to know is that we have a highlight, which is the brightest color. We have a shadow inside the object. Okay, we have the shadow underneath the object. And we have a reflection light, which is down here. Oh, my brush is not good for this. Yep, so the reflection light underneath is here, this one, because it's reflecting the table. All right, so have that. Give that a go, guys, and hopefully you can do the same concept with the face, which we will do next.